There is a country that is looking to sell billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin because of economic uncertainty and because of what's been going on with all of the tariffs. In today's video, we'll be discussing exactly that. We'll be talking about the recent market uncertainty, and we'll also be going over the Bitcoin and crypto price action to help you navigate this market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First, let's kick us off with Bitcoin. As we can see, we got a positive spot ETF day, just under $100 million, which is the first time we've seen this kind of inflow for the past 2 weeks. The last time was around $200 million in inflows right on April 2nd. Now, Bitcoin, what is it doing? We are still seeing resistance at this diagonal trend line, making lower highs the longer we go. Now, what you want to look at here is to see if we can break above this range and hold it as support before we go ahead and target 86.5 to 87.5K. We can see that we made an attempt yesterday, but ultimately the day closed red, which is not what you want to see. And now, today so far at the time of recording this video, it is indeed a green candle, but we have to see if we can break above here, potentially hold it as support. I'd be looking for something like this, breaking above, coming back down to hold it as support before we can target this range over here. Now, if you've been following the content, you know that this is the most important range in my opinion. And if we are to hold this as support, the next level would be all the way up into the $90,000 range. But I won't repeat myself. Now, something that we need to consider here is that gold continues to soar, putting in all-time high after all-time high after all-time high. Previously, we tapped above 3160 and we saw a pretty big rejection for gold, bringing it back under $3,000. But at the time of recording, we can see now that over the past few days, we have pumped massively, setting a new all-time high for gold above $3,300. The reason why this is important is because gold is typically a risk-off signal. Yes, I'm in crypto, and yes, I believe that Bitcoin is the gold of the 21st century, but it will take a couple decades at the bare minimum for it to establish itself as such. But until then, the Bitcoin price action should be seen as something similar to leveraged tech stocks. Now, gold going this high means that investors are flocking to it and they're scared of what's been going on in the overall macro. I'm not a macro expert, but this chart tells us one thing, and that is that people are indeed worried. Now, taking a look at Ethereum against Bitcoin, I just want to bring this up once again. We are approaching this lower level right around 0.017. It's a key level because we held it as support in 2019. Yes, we have gone that low. I covered it on the channel before, but I just wanted to give you another update. And we can see that this line over here, which represents the Fed's balance sheet, we are still in quantitative tightening. Now, there are rumors that this could potentially shift in the upcoming months, but until this actually starts turning around, I don't envision ETH Bitcoin to make any aggressive moves to the upside. Overall, if we really zoom out and you believe in Ethereum as an investment, this could be a pretty attractive level to be accumulating Ethereum, especially at these low Bitcoin valuations. And that reminds me, if you want to buy or trade cryptocurrencies, you should sign up with the first link in my description down below. It brings you directly to Weeks, where you can earn a 20% deposit reward, and you can also earn up to $28,000 for trading on this exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. And as we can see here, you get that 20% deposit bonus, which means that, for example, if you deposit $10,000 into your Weeks account after signing up with my link down below, you get $2,000 back for free for basically doing nothing. And what's even easier here is that you can get between $10 and $100 just for connecting your phone number and your email to your account, deposited directly into your Weeks account. So make sure to sign up if you haven't already. Now, looking at the total crypto market cap, we can see that we got a nice bounce from this range low that we highlighted a few weeks ago, but now we are seeing a little bit of resistance at the top of this box. The RSI is still relatively oversold, but until the tariff talk improves and stocks actually start performing reasonably well, I don't think that this will turn around quite aggressively. Now, let's talk tariffs and touch on the country that could be looking to sell a ton of Bitcoin because of the market uncertainty. First of all, President Trump, Lutnick, and Besant are to discuss tariffs with Japan. Overall, the conversation seems to be relatively positive. And also, the White House has confirmed that 130 countries are now negotiating trade deals with the United States. This is ultimately very positive, but we do know that there's one country that's causing a ton of issues. Can you guess that country? And that is China. The US increased their tariffs on Chinese imports to 245% in response to China's retaliatory trade measures, according to a White House briefing. Now, this seems to only be escalating between both the US and China. And what you need to consider here is that China is simply just asking for a little bit more respect from the US in terms of these tariff talks. We can see here that they're open to talk if Trump shows respect and he names a point person. China wants Trump to rein in cabinet members, show consistency. China also wants to talk to address concerns with Taiwan, which we know is a huge concern, and those sanctions. So let's see how this develops, but ultimately the trade war is really between China and the US because the rest of the countries seem to be ready and willing to negotiate new deals with the US. And because of what's been going on with all the uncertainty, China is now selling some of their crypto. I'll remind you that they are one of the top Bitcoin holders in terms of countries. They hold 194,000 Bitcoins, which could be billions of dollars sold. Local governments in China are selling cryptocurrencies seized from illegal activities despite the country's ban on crypto trading. This activity involves using private firms to convert these assets into cash, primarily to support public finances amid an economic shutdown. China is reported to hold approximately 194K Bitcoins, making it the second largest holder globally after the US. If they dump a ton of their Bitcoin, it would not be pretty for the market, as if we needed more FUD at this current period in time. Now, positive news, we did see that Stripe came out and they're looking to serve Bitcoin and crypto businesses, and they clearly want a piece of the Bitcoin pie. The reason why I included this in this video is because Stripe has been notorious in terms of not being helpful for crypto companies and businesses as a whole. At one point, I even tried to launch my crypto business using Stripe as a payment provider, and I'll tell you, they were not friendly whatsoever. So this is ultimately very positive news. Now, what events do we have today? First of all, we have a lot of data coming out based on the retail sales for gas, autos, overall production, but the key thing that people are paying attention to today, Jerome Powell's speech. Now let's see if he can come out hawkish or dovish, because this will certainly have a huge impact on the market. The last thing that I want to bring to your attention is something very interesting that's happening in crypto, and we've been talking about this on the channel for the past few weeks. That is the fact that Bitcoin dominance continues to increase. And why is that? All of the current interest by market participants, whether it's institutions or whether it's even just a little bit of retail, is in Bitcoin, and it has never been higher. We're seeing inflows to the ETFs. Saylor and other institutions continue to buy Bitcoin. There's even new financial products and ecosystems which are built around and for Bitcoin. At the current period in time, there is zero interest in altcoins. And this is just facts. If we look at the charts here, we can see that Bitcoin dominance continues to increase. And look at that. The Bitcoin dominance wick is inches away from getting filled, where we potentially go on and head higher to around 66%. This just tells us all we need to know about the recent altcoin market. There's more altcoins than ever. Meanwhile, Bitcoin dominance continues to increase. And this is also playing against the stablecoin increases, which we've seen across the entire industry. So Bitcoin dominance is very much in a strong uptrend. So there's a lot of utility coins, there's a lot of meme coins, there's a lot of altcoins, but no one is paying attention to these coins. Now, it isn't just because they technically have zero utility in any capacity. It's mainly to do, once again, with monetary policy. When we enter quantitative easing, that is when altcoins will likely start to outperform, as we can see this pink line on the chart. But I will say, even when the money printer turns on, I do think that we'll have to be very selective about the altcoins that we invest in on this channel. I will make sure to keep you updated on the altcoins that I'm currently looking at, and those will be ones with proven revenue models. One of them that I've told you that I was already looking at was Hype, the hyperliquid token, because they have been racking in millions and millions of dollars as a decentralized exchange every single day. Now, I'm still not aggressive whatsoever in my altcoin accumulation. In fact, most of my position is in Bitcoin and cash as I continue to trade this market. The last thing I'll show you, it paints the same picture. We are nowhere near an altcoin season. We are very much still in Bitcoin season, and it makes sense. If people want exposure to the crypto asset class, the first thing that they will look at is Bitcoin, especially with the recent tariff stuff and the market uncertainty. And I'll just touch on Bitcoin quickly before I wrap this video up. Yes, this could be a potential trading opportunity, but personally, I'm still looking for shorts in the market. The reason being, there is still a ton of uncertainty, and until we can reclaim some of these higher levels, I don't have conviction that Bitcoin cannot just roll over, especially when we're starting to get these nasty wicks to the upside. We'll have to see how the price action of Bitcoin develops, but ultimately you do need to be cautious, especially if you're longing Bitcoin. And that sums up today's quick video. Despite the fact that over 130 countries are open to negotiations with the US in terms of tariffs, China is still causing a lot of issues, and the US and China are still very much butting heads. That being said, China is indeed looking to sell a lot of their cryptocurrencies because of the market uncertainty, and this could of course affect the price action of Bitcoin. As always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.